Good evening and welcome to episode 3 of the Heart and Soul podcast, a podcast all about the heart and soul of Edinburgh, the heart of Midlothian. My name is Graham Duffy and tonight I'm delighted to be joined by a couple of guests. I might have another one on shortly, but I'm at the moment joined by Dean. Dean, how are you doing?
I'm alright, mate, yourself?
I'm not too bad, mate. Busy day at work, but glad to be doing this podcast tonight. And
Aye.
also joined by another fellow Jambo, Ross McGregor. Ross, how's it going, my man?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Yourself?
Doing well, mate. Looking forward to talking about the Hearts and about the game on Saturday. We'll also maybe join by Kieran as well shortly, but I think he might have a five-a-side game, but he might join us shortly. We'll soon find out. But we'll be looking back at the game on Saturday. We'll be looking ahead to the last two games of the season, at Ibrox tomorrow and against Hibs on Saturday in the last hour of the season. We will get to all of that very shortly, but the joy of doing this podcast live is the fact that when anything breaks during the day, I can talk about it. And about 5 hours ago, the Daily Record, mentioned the fact that John Kennedy, the Celtic assistant, might be considered for the Hearts job. Now, Kennedy has been there for 10 years as a coach. He took over caretaker manager job in 2021 for Celtic. He had 10 games in charge. He played 10. He won 4, lost 2, drew 4, and a win percentage of 40%. Now, I have scrolled through every single thing on Twitter, and every single Hearts fan has said the same as I have. Get that in the bin. I'm going to start with you first, Dean. John Kennedy as manager, does that float your boat?
Nah, it's a big fat no for me. Absolutely, no for me. I think it's fake news in a paper just looking for a story, to be honest with you.
There was a comment as well about half an hour later, Barry Anderson put in the evening news as well, that he was being considered. Again, it might be clickbait, we don't know, but Ross, John Kennedy, for me, yes, he's probably got more experience as a manager than Stephen Naismith, but for me, it's definitely a no-no for me. What about you?
Definitely no, mate. Like I said, when he was at Celtic, when he had those 10 games at Celtic, they were poor. I know it was a poor Celtic team at the time, but again, he never spoke about style of play. That's one thing I've liked about Naismith at the moment. I'm comparing them to both relatively quite young managers, but Naismith has went into press conferences. I'm trying to implement this style of play into this team. I want to play attacking, and I don't think you ever got that from John Kennedy. He was in charge of Celtic. I think he just wanted that season over and done with. So definitely no. It doesn't excite me at all. I think one of the best tweets I've seen was, if this is a PR thing from Hearts to get folk on side for Naismith, then it's a marketing genius. That was my favourite tweet.
To be honest, I've seen a few of them, and I have to agree. I mean, that name came out of absolutely nowhere. But again, Dean, we talk about this a lot, about the fact that I know that John Kennedy said that he wants to be a manager of his own right. That's fine. Naismith's done the same. I don't tend to like these projects that we seem to get. Look at Ian Cathro, it didn't work with him. Why is it that every manager that we seems to get seems to be this project kind of thing? I want a more experienced manager. I've said that before, but we seem to get in projects.
I think it's doing to like the club trying to save a bit of money instead of eventually getting that big name in. But I'm not against it, and I think he's done well, Naismith, so far. I mean, Cathro was one of the ones that was a sort of shot in the dark type thing. He did get some big results, especially against Rangers at Tynecastle when we battered them 4-1 and Walker scored that double. But if we are to sort of progress and get a brand of football that's right for the club, we need somebody that's got experience behind them.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that. And again, Ross, I'm looking at John Kennedy. He obviously has been in for a while. He was under Neil Lennon. He was under Brendan Rodgers. He was under Ronnie Dyler. And now he's under Ange Postecoglou. Clearly, these folk at Celtic see something in him. Is it just a case that we're maybe not seeing what he actually offers us?
I don't know, because he would have picked up stuff from every manager, but I think Ange came in and said like he worked with what he's got there because he must have seen something. But like you said, you're not just at Celtic for 10 years. But again, I just can't see it jumping to like I think both sets of fans are like, nah, it's not going to happen. So I don't know. It's I've not really looked too much into it, to be honest. I've not. Aye.
No, I mean, again, Dean, I'm looking at it thinking he's 39, he's 3 years older than Stephen Naismith. But again, he was offered the job at Hibs a while ago as well and turned that down. So again, I go on Twitter a lot, as you all know. I've seen a lot of Hearts fans saying that if John Kennedy got the job, they would not be doing their season tickets. Would you be at that stage if you got the job, or is that a little bit harsh?
That's a bit of a strange one. Like, because I enjoyed going to Tynecastle, I really do. But I don't think I would be there as much if Kennedy got the job. I think he's holding out to get the Celtic job personally. If he's hung around that long, I think he's holding out for that Celtic job. But you never know.
What I quite like is as well, Ross, I've seen quite a few tweets as well saying there's more chance of JFK get the job than John Kennedy. I mean, generally it was quite funny, but again, I look at Barry Anderson's tweet and he basically said that yes, he's in consideration for it, John Kennedy, but also there are other names in the frame, but Naismith will be considered first. Now again, Hearts are doing a lot of their business basically under wraps. We don't know who the new managers might be. We know there's been talk of Chris Wilder. Would Chris Wilder be someone that you would quite happily want to see at Hearts if it's not Stephen Naismith?
There isn't a lot of managers out there that excite me at the moment. What do you call it? I think my current English team is looking at managers as well, NK Dons, and I think the favourite at the moment is Graham Alexander, and that just does not excite me there as well. But again, I think Chris Wilder said he's not interested to come up to Scotland as well. I seen that last week in an article. But nah, I don't know. I don't know Wilder's style of play, to be honest. But I've been really quite happy with what I've seen with Naismith. And if he gets the results the next 2 games, then I'm all for it. I think the performances there have shown that he's implemented like this style of play and it's working. The players have bought into it. I listened to Halliday and Shanklin's podcast and Open Goal last week, and the players seem to have bought into it. So I want Naismith to get the job, but obviously he needs to earn it.
Dean, do you think if Naismith does well these last 2 games, he will get the job? But if we don't win these last 2 games, do you still think he'll get the job? Or are you seeing something in him that you think he deserves a job?
I still think he's going to be in consideration for the job, right enough. But we'll see how the next 2 games go, because it's 2 massive games. Like, massive games. I'm not going to call them cup finals because that's a very Hibs thing to say. But they're massive in terms of qualifying for Europe or finishing third. I think if he is going to get it and he does get 2 big results, then why not should he be considered for the job? I mean, he come in. It wasn't a great first game against Hibs. We lost 1-0, and you could see that his sort of style wasn't implemented on the team right away. And then you've seen it more recently against the likes of Ross County and Aberdeen, and that defeat to Celtic. Like, he wants to get at teams, he wants to attack them. So if he does have the consideration for the job, I mean, why not? Unless Hearts have got someone else in mind that they can bring in and have Naze as number 2.
Yeah, I mean, Ross, you said that you would quite happy Naismith to get the job full time. I've kind of been saying for weeks that I want a more experienced manager. But in saying that, and I put this on Twitter a few days ago, in the 5 games that Naismith's had, we've had 82 attempts. Basically. Now, we obviously at home against Ross County, Aberdeen and Celtic, we have been very much on the attacking front foot. Is that what you're quite happy that Naismith's done? He's implemented this attacking style. He's basically playing a front 4. He's playing Janelli, Shankland, Oda and Mackay. Is that what's exciting you?
Yeah, it's like I said. My pals as well. We were on the front foot on Saturday. We looked dangerous. Don't get me wrong, we looked a bit ropey at the times at the back. The 2 fullbacks pushing up, a bit more attacking, but it's a result game because Cochrane got an assist from it. We looked dangerous. I was speaking to my mate Glenn, that you were on his podcast last week, about it, and I think he was quite surprised at how we done and how different we were compared to the game at Batodry. So I just finished listening to his podcast earlier on the day, and I think you see a different heart side to what we were back the previous months. So yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. And again, Dean, I think in terms of Naismith, if it's not him that's going to get the job, whoever gets the job has got to change that attacking the mentality away from home. Away from home, we are just not good enough.
Even the wee man agrees with that one. No, we've not been good enough away from home. Bear with me, I'll come back to your question.
No worries. Well, Ross, again, I've just mentioned to Dean there, our away form, 3 league away wins all season. For a team that wants to finish third, it's not good enough. And whoever comes in, whether it's Naismith or not, they have to sort the away form out, because I don't know if it's a mentality thing or what it is, but that away form, and listen, it's not a Nielsen's thing, it's not a Naismith thing, it's happened for years. That away form next season has got to change.
100%, because you look at us last season, that's what probably got us a bit better than the rest. We won a few more games away from home. I can't remember what our away record was last season, but I don't think it was a lot better than it was this season, for example. If you got 3 more wins away from home, even 2 more wins, we'd be sitting in third. 3 away wins in a league season isn't good enough. And bear in mind, when we played Motherwell back in September, they absolutely battered us as well. So we're quite fortunate to even come away with that, with 3 goals, let alone come with 3 points. Performances haven't been very good away from home either, to be honest, as well. Obviously, I've not been at Kilmarnock or St Mirren, kind of the recent ones, but one of the ones I've been there, they've just not been good. I thought we'd done all right at Parkhead, and it gave me quite confidence going into the Scottish Cup game, but look what happened. So, but yeah, you're right. We need to implement that. We need to get our away record sorted out, because that's what's probably cost us third place.
Do you think it is a mentality thing? Or what do you think the issue is away from home?
Well, he's seen like Naismith's. I think he said there's no point passing around the back, and that's what Robbie did, implemented quite a lot. We had a lot of possession. I think he came out one day against St Mirren and said if the game was win on possession, we would have about 3 goals or something. It was just ridiculous. He said, "What's the point?" And I think Naismith said, "What's the point having all this possession in our own half? Let's use it in their half." Again, it seems to be working at home, and it might take time to do it away. So I don't know what the issue is away from. I can't say that players can't be intimidated, because you've had players that have played in Old Firm, World Cups, and all that. So I don't know what's happened with the away from, but it's just not been good enough.
Yeah, Dean, just taking it Ross there. I mean, what do you think the issue is away from home? Do you think it's a mentality thing, or what do you think the issue is?
I think it's probably a slight mentality thing. We go to these grounds like Ross County, Motherwell, Kilmarnock, like with the expectation of winning, and like under Nielsen, like half the team were set up to like defend half the time. I mean, you go to like Celtic Park and Ibrox, you can actually see that they're set up to defend, and even he's agreeing with me with that. But I think it's I would put it down to sort of mentality that we're not at home and they don't need to be as more on the front foot, scared to get beat, not on the front foot, and just not wanting to actually go for it. I mean, I can't remember the last away game I was at where we actually turned somebody over.
Yeah, it's been a while. But one team who did turn over was Aberdeen on Saturday, and let us get into talking about that. So on Saturday, we beat Aberdeen by 2-1. The team lineup was Xander Clark in goal, back four of Atkinson, Rose, Sitwick and Cochrane, midfield of Devlin and Haring, Oda, Shanklin, Mackay and Gino. On the bench, it was Stewart, Smith, Grant, Keogh, Halliday, Forrest, Tate, Kuyol and Hill. Now, again, the last couple of home games we played against Celtic and County, we started the game very well. I don't think we started this game quite as well, though, Dean.
No, I haven't watched it on the telly. Thought we lacked that, clinical bite up front. We were creating chances. We just wanted putting it in the back of the net. That one that Alex Cochrane had a slash at, and it went flying over the bar when he had Ginelli off to his left-hand side, who was more or less screaming for the ball. And then when you seen it, it was more or less smacking the ground in frustration because he knows if he gets that ball, he's putting it in the back of the net.
Ross, I don't think in terms of team selection there's any massive surprise. Obviously, Alec Cochrane was in. He can't play tomorrow. I will touch on Atkinson shortly because I thought he was excellent, but probably no real surprises in that team selection at the start of the game.
No, not at all. What concerned me is if we were chasing the game, we needed a goal. I don't think there was much that could have changed that. That was my only concern. But luckily that. But yeah, I thought the team lineup was spot on as you expected. Again, like you said, Atkinson was phenomenal. Because I think Aberdeen were trying to go down his side and try and punish him because I know I think that they know that he was quite vulnerable at times before, but his last two games, Atkinson's been very good.
Yeah, Dean, I think Ross makes a good point there about the fact that if we did need a goal, there wasn't much on the bench to change it. Garan Kuyol clearly is not going to get a chance. There was no James Wilson on the bench, only 16. There wasn't a lot on that bench to change it.
Well, if we were chasing the game, we were pretty much scunnered. I think first half we weren't at the races whatsoever. Like I said earlier on, it was that lack of clinical finishing up front. But obviously, once Ginelli gets that goal, the team sort of kicked into another gear and started going forward a lot more. Even before the goal, we were getting forward, we just weren't sticking it in the back of the net. Like Roos was getting away with a lot of big saves and easy saves as well at that.
Yeah, I took a few notes, and at 5 minutes on the clock, Majowski goes close for Aberdeen, but it's a good block by Haring. Hayes is then booked for a foul on Oda after 10 minutes. After 13 minutes, Shanklin beats a couple of players, but he's shot saved by Kel Roos. 15 minutes, Oda has a shot straight at Roos. Now again, in this one, Ross, Ginelli is very frustrated because Oda gets in the box. It's a good ball from Shanklin. Oda gets in the box. Now he should square it. You can see how much Oda wants to get that first goal, but he should square it for Ginelli.
I've been lower end, I had the best view of that. But again, I thought it was quite a 50-50. It was end to end the first 20 minutes, I thought, of the game. It was quite nervy. I thought both teams, you could see there was quite a lot on the line, but I don't think Aberdeen tested Xander Clark a lot. But again, yeah, Oda should have squared it. But I can see he's desperate to score. It's going to come though. What was it? But I get Ginelli's frustrated because he's never got it because he's in the goals now. But again, I can see why Oda never done that because he's desperate to score, isn't he? So, but then I think that's been quite of a, what is it? We've been punishing teams like that with Oda on the wing and Barry Mackay on the wing as well. We've looked a lot more dangerous. And yeah, that Roos made a couple of great saves. Aberdeen defended superbly, and then obviously takes a wonder strike, which like that to bring the team back to life. I think the confidence, it was the right time to score. The confidence was in the team, and I think after Ginelli scored, I think there was only going to be one team that was going to win it though.
Yeah, I do want to talk about Oda because for me, since he's coming to the team, Dean, I think Oda's been an absolute breath of fresh air. He's desperate for that first goal, and I genuinely think if Oda scores his first goal at Tynecastle, the roof will come off because he's been brilliant.
Yeah, I think it will be the derby he scores it in. I really do.
Oh, I hope so. I really hope so.
I think he's going to rip Hanlon to bits, in all honesty. Hanlon or whoever's on that left-hand side or right-hand side, he's going to have them on toast. Quite literally. But like when Cammy Devlin got his first goal against St Mirren, the roof came off the away stand, and hopefully the roof comes off at Tynecastle on Saturday when he slots it past Slippy Marshall.
Oh, he's terrible. He's a dreadful goalkeeper. Like, how anyone thinks he's better than Craig Gordon is just an absolute joke. But again, I mean, on you go, Ross, on you go.
I was folk calling for him to come out of retirement as well when Scotland were having that goalkeeper crisis back in March.
I know. But I mean, I went on Twitter on Saturday after the game, and Ross, I was genuinely shocked to see that somebody said that Oda was awful. I completely disagree with that. I thought Oda was great. He's just lacking that confidence for him to go. But again, now Dean's just used the phrase there, on toast. I thought Oda ripped Hayes to pieces on Saturday.
Yeah, especially when Hayes got that early booking as well, so Hayes had to be fucking sorry for swearing, I almost swearing. Hayes almost had to be Hayes had to be careful what he was doing, and obviously they made the sub on Hayes, but listening to my mate's podcast in Aberdeen, Hayes definitely struggled against Oda, and the next an experienced boy that's won the league with Celtic 2 times, and Oda just rinsed him a new one, and I hope again he does it again. Hopefully tomorrow, Saturday.
Dean, something that's very noticeable for me is the fact that Atkinson and Oda have a very good partnership down their right-hand side, and it's showing.
Yeah, well, they're both attacking threats as well, and I think we've seen that on Saturday, and I've continued to see it in recent games. If that continues tomorrow and Saturday, we shouldn't have a problem with getting a result against Hibs. It's just the Rangers game that's slightly worrying me because they're in good form just now. They haven't been beaten for a while, and the last time they didn't really have much to play for. They put the kids out and they turned us over.
That was before the cup final. That was horrendous. That we all thought we'll beat this lot, and then we ended up getting hammered ourselves. But again, Ross, I've just said to Dean about that right-hand side. Now, I think I've been very vocal in saying that I was a massive fan of Atkinson, but to be fair to him, recently he's been very good.
Yeah, maybe this attacking style suits him though. Obviously, I know defenders should be good at defending, right? But I think we all agree that Atkinson's better going forward than he is defending, and maybe this style suits him. Be able to have a bit more freedom going up the field and then trying to defend and all that. Yeah, don't get me wrong, he should be defending. Should be the first thing as a right back, but again, this style of play seems to be getting the best out of him. So. Seems to be getting the best of a few players. I know Barry Mackay's not quite up to his last season standards, but he has improved massively since under Naismith. Like even at his first Hibs game, he looked a breath of fresh air. The first half took a lot more players on. Yes, he's still frustrating, right? But I'm sure, again, this style of play is getting the best out of players. And again, I've seen a lot of mixed reviews as well. I thought Pierre Haring was excellent on Saturday as well. I just thought he was getting in, blocking everything. Well, not blocking everything, intercepting everything. He just controlled the him and Devlin controlled the midfield.
I'm going to get to Haring, don't worry, because I want to talk about him. If anyone's got any comments to make on YouTube or on Twitter, get them fired in. I'll get to them as soon as I can because I'm watching all the comments as well. But there was a moment in the 22nd minute that Barry Robson was not happy about, Dean, and it was Ollie Watkins going down under the Peter Haring challenge. He thinks it's a penalty. And I'm not being biased here. It's not a penalty. He fouls Haring at first. It's not a penalty.
I don't know what kind of substances they're taking up in Aberdeen, but they must be strong if he thinks that's a penalty. Because Ollie Watkins more or less fouls Haring before the actual contact's made.
Ross, would you agree with that as well?
Yeah, I've had a discussion with Glenn as well about it. So, but. It's no given. It's not a penalty. It's soft. It's makes the foul on him, and then Watkins falls over. It's no penalty. Barry Robson, even that one on Duke at Ibrox the other week there, that's no penalty. The challenge was first made outside the box, then it falls in the box. It's still outside the box where the first challenge was made. Barry Robson, I just think it's like Robbie Nielsen interviews listening to him at the moment. It's just everything's going against him. He thinks, but we'll talk about obviously more about Aberdeen later on. But I just don't. I just didn't see a style of play in Aberdeen as well. I thought they kept hoofing the ball up to Miovski and hoping for the best, but I'm sure we'll talk about that.
That's a good point, actually, because I was disappointed in Aberdeen. I thought they were basically playing long balls every time, and I thought they were trying to obviously turn Ribbles and Civic. A couple of times they got in behind, but apart from that, the football they played was very poor. And I've also noticed just that as well, that since Robson got their job permanently, they've not won yet. So I don't know if that says anything or not.
Well, I think it's like I said in the John Kennedy and the Naismith thing. Naismiths came in right and said, like, I want to play a style of football and whatnot. This is what I'm trying to get into the players. I don't see a style of play with Robson at all. Like, I've seen Aberdeen on the telly as well against County and the Rangers. It's just, I don't see a style of play that Robson's trying to get these players to play. I think they're relying too much on individuals. Like, fair enough, it's worked the last few months. But again, this like not a style of play. And again, I was really disappointed. As soon as you're disappointed, I think they kept trying to do diagonal balls over the top for Miovski, diagonal balls to Morris when he came on. Because I think they seem, obviously, as I said earlier, that Atkinson's quite vulnerable at defending. But we handled it well, and yeah, it was just, I thought Aberdeen, there was no style of play. Even at Batodry, there was no. I left after the third goal at Batodry, right? But
I switched it off after the third.
I don't think it was balls in the box again. It was long balls, set pieces that we conceded from at Batodry. Again, I'm not seeing a style of play from Aberdeen.
Well, funnily enough, the opening goal comes with 31 minutes, and it's pretty much what we all knew it would be. It's a corner kick from Ollie M from Leighton Clarkson. Xander Clark has got to do better, and yet again, Dean, our Achilles heel, we cannot defend cross balls into our box.
I don't know what's going on. Like, it's either a defensive set piece coach made or like a crash course in how to defend set pieces, because it was horrendous to watch. Literally, you could see it coming as soon as the ball went into the box and Xander Clark made that move. It was in. I don't know who's meant to be on that back post, but you know, the Aberdeen boy that scored is literally just given a free header, and it's criminal. Matty Pollock, that's it. It's criminal schoolboy defending that he's allowed that much space, and there's nobody else on the post trying to clear that away.
Ross, I don't want to go in too hard on anyone, and I've not looked back at every goal we've lost, but I had to look at this earlier on as well. The game we lost 1-0 to Hibs at Easter Road, it was Paul Hanlon basically beat Toby Civic. Last week against St Mirren, Alec Gogic beats Toby Civic. Saturday, Matty Pollock beats Toby Civic. Toby Civic's become a real problem at set pieces. He can't defend.
Yeah, I think to be fair, I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember much about that Hibs game. It was quite a bore-fest as well, to be honest. And I barely saw I think I saw the goal once against St Mirren, and then that was it. But last week, as you said, this Saturday there, he got beaten there too easily. For a big boy who's I don't know, he must be about 6'4", 6'3". He gets beaten there too often. Is he missed timing? I don't know. Like, is it inexperience? Because Rouse is still quite relatively young as well. Sibbitt's relatively young. Is it experienced defender missing? They're good defenders, obviously, but Rouse needs to hit the gym as well, though. Like, I don't want to be too critical now, because I thought he did have quite a good game on Saturday, but he needs to hit the gym in the summer.
Yeah, it does get beat too easily from me. But again, Dean, I saw a lot of comments as well on Twitter saying that Xander Clark's not good enough, which I disagree with. Yes, he made a mistake on Saturday. He probably could do better with the St Mirren second goal on Saturday last week. But I think Xander Clark's a more than capable backup for Craig Gordon.
Aye, absolutely. I mean, you seen what he done when he first came in. He was phenomenal. It's just slight mistakes. I wouldn't say he's no good enough, because he's a good keeper. He's experienced enough. He won a cup double before he left St Johnstone to come to us on a free. And St Johnstone to lose a keeper of that calibre is absolutely criminal. And we've snapped up the chance and got ourselves a cracking keeper. Yeah, he's a backup, but he's more than good enough to cover for Craig Gordon being injured.
Ross, would you agree with that?
100%. Yes, he's a backup for a reason. Like, you're backup to Craig Godwin for a reason. But good keeper, good shot stopper. Yeah, he's made a couple of mistakes, but again, no. Look what we had last season. Ross Stewart was backup, so it's improvement. So, and you look at Ross Stewart against St Mirren when we beat 2-0. He was just he just looked lost in goals. So I've got no complaints with Xander Clark.
Let's bring back Joe Pereira. Where's the campaign to bring back Joe Pereira? Honestly, one of the worst keepers I've ever seen at Tynecastle. Seriously, dreadful goalkeeper.
That's it. Bobby's a mal as well.
I still blame him for that cup final defeat to Celtic, Zamal. Still blame him for that.
Yeah, a lot of folk still blame Willie Collin, but Zamal gave him an opportunity to call for the spot.
Well, we could have got...
It was a mental call.
It was. We could have got level a minute later on the game on Saturday because brilliant ball from Barry Mackay finds Josh Ginelli in the box. Great little back heel from Ginelli. Alec Cochrane in the box. Hits it straight at Roos. The ball bounces up. Hits off Shanklin's header. Saved again by Roos. At that point, we were starting to really... And what I actually quite like about Saturday as well, and I will say this about Naismith's team, against St Mirren last week, the Hedge could have gone down at 2-0 down. They didn't. We got back in it. At 1-0 down this time, we fought back really well and we really dominated the game. So I quite like that. And again, at that point, after that save, Dean, are you thinking a goal's coming here?
Aye. No, see, you see it because there was more an intent to get back level because the players know exactly what is at stake, especially in that game, with it being must win or Aberdeen take Europe at Tynecastle. But there was definitely a goal coming. You could get that sense that with the amount of times we were going forward and sort of pressing Aberdeen's backline a lot more, that the goal was coming and it eventually did come at the right minute.
Yeah, I mean, 37 minutes, Oda drives into the box again, shot straight at Kelly Roos, but then one of the highlights of the season for me, a very special moment, 42 minutes on the clock. The Hearts fans are applauding for David Stewart, sadly, who passed away at a very young age, only 42. Condolences to him and his family. He leaves a young family behind, which is never good at all. Horrible experience for them as well. But as the fans are still applauding for David, and I'm sure he's up there probably looking down on that, thinking what a moment this is. Barry Mackay gets the ball on the left-hand side, plays it inside to Josh Ginelli, about 25 yards out on the angle, and Ginelli curls an absolutely stunning effort into the top corner. Roos has actually got the cheek to dive for it when he's nowhere near it. Ross, an incredible moment and an incredible goal from Ginelli, who has been outstanding this season. 13 goals, and that's probably the best one yet.
Definitely. Great moment. David will be chuffed. His family will be an emotional day for them, and for that to happen, it was incredible for the family. So couldn't happen at a better time, and it just, again, that goal really sparked Tynecastle back to life again. That game, the fans got on side with the players again. The atmosphere built up again, which has lacked over the last few months, and it just felt like old Tynecastle again.
Yeah, I mean, Dean, Ginelli has been excellent this season. A lot of folk will say it's because he wants a new contract. Well, if he scores goals like that every week, give him a new contract. Give him it now.
Chuck it straight down on the table and don't let him out the door until he signs it.
It was just, I mean, generally, we've seen Stephen Humphrey's goal at Tynecastle, but that goal came out of nothing. I mean, he's got no right to take that on. And to put it where he did, right in the postage stamp top corner, it was a brilliant goal.
That's just great technique, in all fairness. Literally, like, you see goals like that in the Premier League and La Liga, the Bundesliga. You never expected to see something like that rocket into the top corner for where he did in the Scottish game at all.
I mean, I don't know if you probably would have seen the stat, Ross, but Ginelli and Shanklin have got 40 goals between them. They are only now behind Robertson and Cahoon. It's great company to be in.
Yeah, definitely. who would have thought that start the season as well? Bear in mind, those folk that didn't want Shanklin start the season as well. They think it was going to be good enough, but just imagine what could have been if we played that system at the start of the season with Gianelli up front and Shanklin just behind them. You think what could have been different, but again, no. I think we found Gianelli's best role. I think he's a bit more frustrating on the wing, but I think his best role is quite clearly that number 9 role. Again, it's just an incredible player, and I think if he had performed, if he had played at the start of the season in this role, it could have been. You just think what could have been different.
Yeah, I mean, Dean, I think it's noticeable when Gianelli's not there because they don't have that pace up front for me. And again, a lot of folk have talked about the fact that when Nielsen was there, he played Shanklin very deep. And again, for me, that wasn't right. But I do like the fact that Gianelli's playing up front because he has got that pace to run him behind. And he's shown it numerous occasions. The amount of times on Saturday he got him behind. And actually, I noticed it as well on Saturday. When he went off on Saturday, it seemed to affect us. We didn't have that space. We didn't have that pace in behind anymore when he went off.
Yeah, you can see that he's got the intent that he wants to get forward a lot, get the goals. I was just looking at it there. He's outscored Jota, Morelos, Abada, Nisbet, Sakala, Main, and Maeda, to name a few, with 13 goals. No, 12 goals, sorry. But if he can continue that, especially tomorrow and Saturday, he's going to give those defenders a bit of a problem. Like,
Ross, do you think it is a case of he is just playing for a new contract? And if he is just doing that, is there an issue with that?
Not at all. I think he's always loved his time up here, and he said that the only reason it's taken so long to get a new contract is he wants to relocate his family up here, which is completely fair enough. He's been here for 3 seasons now, and I think he's proven his worth that he deserves it. And I know there's times he's been frustrating, but I think we found the best place for Gianelli, and that's the striker role, that number 9 role. Again, a wing. I thought he was quite ineffective at wingers at times, and be quite frustrating. But again, we found his best role. So, no, I don't think he was playing for a new contract. I think I think everyone knew that he's had it in him, that he could perform at that level. He scored goals for us in the Championship, and he had glimpses last season, and some glimpses start the season, especially against Riga in Europe, and that he's still got something in him. And yeah, I don't think it's a surprise to me now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, second half starts. We have a chance at the start of the second half. Gino just heads wide from a ball from the box. And then 55 minutes, Hearts do get in front. Barry McCann on the left again. Ball Alec Cochrane. Brilliant ball in. And Shanklin does what Shanklin does. Another penalty. Sorry, it wasn't a penalty. It was a great goal. Goal number 27 of the season for Lawrence Shanklin. And Ross, you're right. A lot of folk at the start of the season didn't think Shanklin was good enough. I did. 27 goals this season for his first season in here. What an unbelievable signing he's been, and easily for me, and it's easy to say it, but it's true. Easily for me, the best striker since John Robertson.
Oh, 100%. Most consistent as well. If he scores a penalty, he scores a penalty. He still needs to score the penalty. He's incredible. I think he's took the captaincy. I think he's thrived on it as well. I think everyone was shocked that he got it, but he's thrived, and I just think he's incredible. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if his clubs in England sniffing about him in the summer.
What worries me more, Dean, is there might be clubs in Scotland snicking after him, i.e. Rangers.
Oh, them? Nah, they can bolt.
I can't see us selling this.
No. I can't see us selling to Rangers. Like, I've got Rangers fans at work constantly harping on one in particular. Anytime Shanklin has a good game, he's like, "Oh, he's got to be at Rangers next season. He's got to be at Rangers next season." It's like, mate, he's can't afford them. Shut up. On your way.
Oh, clean Cleaning my work said that he's seen him follow. Shanklin's going to sign. I said, see if I believed every rumour on Twitter, Hearts would sign Messi next game day.
Nah, he's too old. He doesn't fit into the Hearts structure. He's too old. But I mean, generally, Dean, I don't think a lot of Hearts fans, and not just Hearts fans, fans of other clubs, realise just how much of a good player Shankland actually is. Not just his goals, his all-round game is excellent.
It is, and you see how well he can bring other players into the game. The likes of Kai, Janelli, Oda, just to name a few. And, you know, his forward play is just as good as his build-up. 27 goals it's a spectacular stat and record to actually get, especially beating Robbo's record of 2021. And to score the amount that he has, especially breaking the record at Easter Road, like probably one of our best signings for a long time. And he agrees with that as well.
Ross, there's only 2 games left. Can Shankland hit 30? With only 2 games to go?
If I'm being realistic, I don't think so. But he can, but I'd love to see it. But you never know. Just, again, I'm just going to say I hope so. Like, I'm going to go into the game tomorrow. It's just a hope.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I've got to be honest. But again, Dean, it's a typical striker's goal. It's a great ball from Cochrane, and Shanklin's the right place. It's a goal that Robertson scored numerous times over the years. It's just a typical striker's goal.
Aye, 100%. It's the type of place that you want your striker, like in and around the penalty box or the 6-yard box. As soon as the ball's come across, he's sticking a head, a leg out, just to get on the end of it and stick it past the keeper. Just on that one, if he can hit 30, a hat-trick against Hibs would do.
Another one anyway. That. Well, he's already got what? Is it 4 against Hibs this season? I would quite happily take another hat-trick from him.
Aye, 4 against Hibs.
After that, we have another chance. Mackay has a curling shot just wide. Again, I really wasn't that impressed with Aberdeen. It was just long ball after long ball. And Ross, you said it yourself. I like Glenn and his mate Callum. I've been on the podcast before. They're really good guys as well. But Aberdeen they were very, very poor for me on Saturday. There was nothing. You were right as well. You said earlier on about style of play. I don't know what they were trying to do. And again, I think we spoke about numerous times before. Under Levine, it felt like we were a Stephen Naismith side. Without him, we had nothing. I get the same impression from Aberdeen when they don't have Duke. They don't really have much else.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. I think as well, what they were saying as well is Duke's kind of a ball carrier. They missed Shinnie as well, of course, and them appealing that decision for Shinnie, the 3-match ban, which made it a 4, which meant that he missed the Hearts game. It's probably cost him more now than it was worth. I think Duke was such an important player for them, and you see that now. But he's available for tomorrow, and so's McCory and Shinnie. So, like again, we just hope St Mirren can do as slightly repays from '86. Well, I wasn't born in '86, obviously, right? But hopefully, do us a favour for a change.
Do you know the one thing I've noticed about doing this podcast as well, right? I've just noticed the fact that you guys are so much way fucking younger than I am, and it really depresses me. Because I'm 45 this year, and you guys look like really fresh faced, and that really depresses me.
Fresh faced 31-year-old.
That's just not fair. It's not fair. I want my baby again, like your little one there. Let me be a baby again. But we do make a couple of changes. 65 minutes. Gino comes off for George Grant. Now, I don't know. I had Greg play through my podcast last week asking about this as well. What do you guys make of George Grant? Because for me, I don't think he's done enough. And if there's anybody that, like next season, for me, for example, if I'm talking about players that I would quite happily let go next summer, I would quite happily let George Grant go. For me, he's not done enough. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I agree. Ever since that Zurich game that he dived, that was my kind of opinion set forward. And I wasn't too excited when we signed him in the first place, but I just don't think he set the the world of light at all. I don't think he's had much moments. It's just, I think we could do better. And if there's one thing that I would say is one thing that Hearts have lacked this season is we've missed like a midfielder making attacking runs, and I think that's probably an area that we should be looking for. I know Arfield's not getting his contract renewed, but I'd love Hearts to go for Arfield. I think that semi-final against Rangers Celtic, I thought when he came on, Rangers were a much better side when he came on for Tillman. But I don't see Arfield signing for Hearts. I think he'll go abroad.
I mean, I've seen a lot of Hearts fans mention on Twitter, Dean, would you be happy with Scott Arfield? He is 31 now, but would you be happy with Scott Arfield?
I would take Arfield, aye. I think it would just all go in his wages and if he actually wants to join. Touching on Ross's point of when he came on in the semi-final against Celtic, I'll take it back to when he came on against Aberdeen when Rangers were getting beat. He's came on and they've won the game. He scored 2 goals to win them the game.
Uh-huh.
I think he's that type of player that can change the game and sort of the team that's got him's favour.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that because I think Ross is spot on, and so are you, Dean. I don't think we don't have anyone in that midfield that's going to score goals. Benny's not going to score goals. Devlin's not going to score goals. Haring's not going to score goals. Keogh definitely not fucking score goals. So we do need that attacking threat from midfield. Like a Hartley, like a Scatchell. We need somebody like that to chip in with like 10, 15 goals a season. So again,
I was about to say we've not had a goal scoring midfielder since Scatchell.
No, I mean whoever the new manager is next season, whether it's Naismith or not, he needs to sign that attacking midfielder. And I do kind of agree with Ross there. When Arfield does play, he does score goals. He does make that last man run. I wouldn't be against it, to be honest. But again, I'm looking at the other changes made in the game. 76 minutes, Alan Forrest and Michael Smith came on for Oda and Mackay. I think any momentum went with that substitution, to be honest, because it was defensive changes, let's be honest. We then, 78 minutes, Forrest finds Grant, but he's shot straight at Roos. And then 82 minutes, Ross. We should wrap the game up. Hanning plays the ball in. Michael Smith has a shot, deflects to Alan Forrest. How he doesn't score that. Now, again, I was watching the game with my laddie. Now, I played football at not a massive high level, but I shouted at the TV when Forrest missed that chance. I would have scored that. He has to score that.
Yeah, I just think it's confident. He's got no confidence in it. Again, no, I'm from Livingston, and I spoke to a few Livingston fans, and they didn't too highly rate Forrest, to be honest, as well. He had a good start to the season, don't get me wrong, but I just think his confidence is at the bottom now, and I don't think Forrest is the kind of player that can get a bounce back. Like Ginnelly, for example, I don't think he's going to have that bounce back what Ginnelly's had. And when his form springs back to life, I think, again, end of the season, we should be looking at better options than Forrest, and obviously GMS will be at the end of the season as well, so wingers should be definitely on a high priority list, attacking midfielders and wingers, and I don't know.
Any form of midfielder should be high priority on the list. That and a big Eastern European centre back, Vidic, like that only knows violence.
Yeah, because we can't trust Craig Halkett, I suppose. We can't trust Craig Halkett if he was to come back, because just because of his injuries. But again, we need, as you say, just some scary guy at the back.
I mean, it's quite funny because, like, when he went off injured against RFS, Craig Halkett, we brought Lewis Nielsen on, who looked really good. But again, Nielsen's barely featured either.
It's a shame because he's a cracking player.
Uh-huh.
And in the games that he's played, he's not really put a foot wrong. I mean, he got sent off against Fiorentina at Tynecastle, but, apart from that, he's not really put a foot wrong for me. He's come in, he's done a job, he's defended well, and he's just gotten on with it.
Well, the final thing that happened during the game, there wasn't really much else, to be honest. 86 minutes, and again, I mentioned this to Greg last week. We do make a change, 86 minutes. Keogh comes on for Haring. Keogh wasn't dreadful, I'm not going to lie, it was all right. But now, Hearts won the game 2-1. before we talk about Rangers and Hibs on Saturday, I want to get your thoughts on a few of the players. It was mentioned earlier on, Peter Haring. Now, again, I don't think it's any coincidence that we've looked a lot better when Haring's played. Again, I thought he was very good on Saturday. So the big question is, Dean, Peter Haring, are we giving him a new contract?
Along with Gino, I think we need to cut the usual Hearts BS, put the paper down in front of them, and get them signed up. Because if we don't, there's going to be teams south of the border or in Europe sniffing about them, going, can we get something in here? Can we get a player in? And then take it for there, because they could come in and steal them from under our noses tomorrow, essentially, because, you know, they're out of contract in the summer. So I would
Ross,
definitely stick the paper down in front of Gino and Haring.
Ross, I know that you're a fan of Peter Haring. Again, I think you made the point earlier on. Peter Haring has made us a better side for me. He's got that composure. He's bringing the best out of Cammy Devlin, who looks a different player when Haring's beside him. So I assume that you are expecting Haring, or hoping that Haring signs a new contract.
I'm hoping so, yeah. But again, it was a whole. It took a while to sign a contract last season, so we don't know what's going through. Like, if he wants, we don't know what if he wants to go back home. Like, I don't know. You don't know what goes through players' heads. So, like, obviously, I'd hope he stays. But again, it's down to family, isn't it? At the same time, and if he wants to go back to Germany or Germany/Austria, I don't know.
Austria.
Aye, Austria. Aye.
If you're giving him a new deal, is it a 1-year deal? Is it a little bit longer? How much do you think the contract would be?
2, but
2. I would go with 2.
Yeah, so ideal.
Gino, 5-year deal. Give him what he wants.
Well, here's the question, right? We're talking about like maybe new signings for next season, which we will need. But here's the question now, right? For now, let's say that nobody else came in, and they will, but let's say nobody else came in that kind of defence midfield role. Who are you playing next season? Because you're going to have Benny back, hopefully, if he doesn't break down again. You'll have Haring and you'll have Devlin. If we're playing 4-2-3-1, which is what Naismith seems to want to play just now, who are you playing in that midfield partnership?
Depends if Benny is when he gets back.
Aye. It'll take him a while to get back to his best and full fitness again. But I think once Benny is back, I think he slots into that team, no bother at all. Because you look at the semi-final, we beat Hibs 2-1. He was controlling that midfield. If he was playing. No, I didn't think he was playing. So
I think it was Halliday and Devlin that started that set.
He's right.
And
the games that Benny has played, he's controlled that midfield. I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of Football Manager here.
Well, if you think when they first started, when he first came in, it was Benny and Devlin in that midfield, and they were brilliant. They were very good. But again, can you afford to leave Peter Haring out? Because he has been very good.
He has been. It's sort of stuck at who I would put in that midfield. Because they've all got their good attributes in there.
In terms of defensively, though, when Halkett comes back, who do you pair with Halkett? Is it a completely new centre-back, or is it AN? Is it one-off, Civic, or Rolf? Who plays beside Halkett?
I don't know.
if Rouse hits the gym, I'd go with Rouse.
I would go with the big Aussie.
If he hits the gym over the summer, but again, no, it takes a while because to come to the physicality of this league as well. At the same time, like it took Halkett ages to get up to the fan standards because fans wanted him out. I didn't think he was good enough in the championship season, but look what he did the next game season.
Well, tomorrow we travel to Ibrox. We are still just 2 points behind Aberdeen, who take on St Mirren at Pittodrie tomorrow. Obviously, St Mirren coming on the back of a 2-2 result against Celtic. We go to Ibrox, where our last win there was 2014, with goals from Osman Sow and Danny Wilson. But that was in the Championship. Do you guys remember when we last won at Ibrox in the top flight?
2012
yeah.
March. That was my first trip at Ibrox.
It was
I
the
do,
third
aye.
of it was the 3rd of March 2012, 1-2-1. Do you know who scored those goals?
Ian Black and Jamie Hamill.
I was about to say Jamie Hamill and Ian Black.
Oh, you guys have done your Google searches, just exactly
No,
what I thought you would
I
do.
was at the game. I remember
my
it
first
very
time.
well.
That was my first time at Ibrox. First 2 trips to Ibrox, 1-2-1 both times. I think I could get used to this.
I know. Honestly, tomorrow just brings me fear, but hope as well. Because I don't want to be horrible here, right? But if this was under Robin Nielsen, we're going to get beat. But I have a slight sense of encouragement that, again, whenever I've heard Naismith talk, he has spoken very well, and he's always spoken about the fact that we have to attack teams, which I quite like. I know that you're going to the game tomorrow, Ross. How are you feeling ahead of this game tomorrow?
Just hope. That's genuinely hope, because I said to everyone I wasn't getting a ticket unless we won on Saturday. But again, as a Hearts fan, you're going to Glasgow, semi-finals, finals, Parkhead and Ibrox, and it's just hope. It's the hope that kills you, as they say.
I mean, we're obviously are going to have to make a change tomorrow because Alec Cochrane is suspended. Fucking ridiculous. Stephen Kingsley, I think, is still having family issues, so it might be that Andy Hallery plays in his former team, which, I'm not going to lie, does fucking worry me. Andy Hallery at Ibrox for Hearts against Rangers does worry me.
As long as it's no Michael Smith, man, because he just gets rinsed every time we play against Rangers.
Especially with the pace that they've got out wide as well.
I mean, Dean, it's difficult to answer this, I know, but what are you expecting from Hearts tomorrow? Because it's a game that we know we have to win. Because assuming, as I think they might, assuming that Aberdeen beat St Mirren, we have to win to take it to the last game. What are you expecting from Hearts tomorrow?
More of the same, to be honest. Get right at Rangers and try and get that goal. Stick them on the back foot and get the Ibrox crowd against them from the get go. It's difficult to do because you've got 50,000 plus of them. Grunting down their noses at you. I wouldn't be disappointed with a draw. I would take a draw. I'd be over the moon with a win because I work with boys that are Rangers fans as well, and they give me a chance to get it out of them at work.
Ross, it's obviously Naismith's got this new style of play. I'm looking at the Rangers team that played against Hibs on Sunday, and they basically play a 4-3-1-2. Now, I think from what I've seen so far, Todd Cantwell's been very good for them. How important do you think it is that Hearts keep an eye on Todd Cantwell and stop him playing?
Vital. I think he's been the one that's carried Rangers over the split, really. Scoring against Aberdeen, Celtic and Hibs now, that's 3 in the trot now he's scored. So I think he's carried him in the split and he's taken him to the next level. And I think Todd Cantwell's a very good player. You're not getting bidded 30 million one time if you're not a good player. And I think Rangers are incredibly lucky to have a player like that. But fortunate, sorry, it's probably a better word to have a player like that. And talented players like Hadji as well. But again, you just need to get. Again, it's just hope. I need to shoot off though because I've got work at 4 a.m. So
I know what it is, mate. Much appreciated coming on the podcast tonight. Really appreciate it, mate.
No worries, guys. See you.
Right, see
you later, mate. See you later, mate. So that was Ross who joined us tonight. Dean, I'm looking at where Hearts can hurt Rangers tomorrow, and we speak about this a lot on our Twitter Spaces. But we always talk about the fact that Barry Mackay doesn't turn up in big games. Now tomorrow, he will be up against James Tavernier, who I've always said is good going forward, but not great defensively. We need Barry Mackay to get on the ball and cause Tavernier problems tomorrow.
Aye, if you can sort of ping it out wide over the top of the fullbacks, then we have got a chance because the pace of Mackay, he's got that in his locker to get away from Tavernier. And if you look to the left-hand side, they've got They got that boy that they signed.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. Ridvan Yilmaz.
That's the one,
Who'll
Turkish
be up?
boy.
Who'll be up against Oda? I'd imagine.
That'll be a tasty battle, like. Because they've both got some pace and they're both quite talented. I was just going off of Ross's one with Rangers signing Cantwell. When I seen that, I'm like, surely that's just clickbait and mad rumours. But once they announced that, it was like, how are they managing to get a player like him when there was bigger sides in England sniffing about him, and then suddenly signing for Rangers?
100%. I mean, obviously, one of the big things tomorrow will be that John Souttar playing against Hearts. I think if I'm Stephen Naismith, John Souttar's a good player, don't get me wrong, but if I'm Stephen Naismith, I'm getting that ball in behind as much as I can and letting Ginelli get on the end of that, because I genuinely think he could get at, because they played Leon King and Souttar on Sunday. Hibs offered no threat. I think, honestly, if we can get at them, I think Shankland and Ginelli with his pace can cause him a lot of problems tomorrow.
No, I watched the game on Sunday as well, and it was easy to see that there was no sort of major threat. They nullified the big players like Nisbet and Johan and Cadden. And Cadden's playing in a more advanced role that I've seen recently. But the Rangers nullified the Hibs threat, as it were, and controlled the game for there. I mean, Hibs did score. I never seen the goal because I switched it off after the third went in. And I was like, that's it, done. Switch over to something else now.
I mean, do you think it's important? And again, we say this a lot when we go to Ibrox and Celtic Park, but how important do you think it is that when Hearts do get the ball, we use it properly and don't give it away? Because you've seen it as well numerous times over the years at times when we played Rangers and Celtic. When we get the ball, we give it away far too often. And tomorrow, I think we can't afford to do that.
No, you're right in that. Because when we have played Rangers and Celtic at Tynecastle, Ibrox, and Celtic Park, we control the ball a little bit better when we're at Tynecastle. But when we go to the likes of Parkhead and Ibrox, it's I think it's a mentality thing. Like they've got the ball and then instantly it's like, boom, get it away. Like thinking that they've got a Celtic or Rangers player on them, when realistically, if they get the head up, look, they're in tons of space. I've seen it a few times when I've been at Ibrox as well. Like players have got tons of space to run into, and if they just utilise the space, get forward, then we've got ample chance to get a goal. If we are going to get something tomorrow, be it a win or a point, we need to score first and get the Ibrox crowd against the team. Because if they're against the team, they're likely to crumble. And if they're going to crumble, then that's our opportunity to pick up 3 points. Or if we're a goal down and we're frustrating them, it's our opportunity to snatch a point.
The one thing we can't do, and we say this a lot, but it seems to happen every week anyway. Well, there's two things we can't do. We can't lose an early goal, and we cannot lose another freaking goal from a set piece, because it's getting really annoying now. Because it's every single week.
Thank you. I would lose count on my fingers how many times I've watched us concede for a set piece. It's ridiculous. It's like they don't want to actually win the aerial battle, be it from a corner or an indirect free kick, just to get it away. Because on one of the corners on Saturday, everybody was back bar Ginelli. When realistically, you want maybe 2 or 3 players sort of out with the box that the keeper gets it, he launches it to either wing or just fires it over the top, start your own half, and if you've got the pace there to get past the defenders, you're in straight away.
I mean, I've said this numerous times. I genuinely think when we give away a corner, right, I don't see what the point is in keeping guys like Oda, Ginelli, and Mackay back. They're not going to win anything there. So I always think
too
that
weak.
why not keep at least 3 up the park, because then they've got to keep 4 up the park, which then lowers the numbers in the box. I never understand why Hearts don't do that. Put 3 men up, because then they've got to put at least 4 men back. I don't get why we don't do that.
I don't know why it's not done either. I've said it numerous times, especially to a couple of mates of mine, and I've been watching the game, and I've spoke about it with them. It's like, why is there so many players back? And Saturday as well, I was like, why is there so many of them like sitting back when you've only got Janelli left up front?
I mean, Janelle is good, but he can't beat everyone. Let's be honest.
No.
He is good, but he's not going to beat everyone. But I mean, in terms of tomorrow, do you think that by the time that we play Hibs on Saturday, we will still be in contention for 3rd, or do you think it's done?
I think, and it's the hope that kills me as well, I'm hoping that St. Lydown can get a result up at Aberdeen and do us a turn after what they've done to us against the bigger brother Celtic. But it's the hope that kills me. I'm also, fingers crossed, knock on wood, that Hibs' big cousin Celtic can, stick them away so Hibs can't finish above us on the final day either.
That's what I was thinking about it earlier. It's so depressing. I'm actually hoping that Celtic win tomorrow, just in case it doesn't go our way, because I don't want Hibs finishing above us.
No.
If we finish 4th, okay, it's not great, but I'd rather not finish 5th. So it's kind of that point where I'm like, please just don't get beat tomorrow at Celtic. Just win.
Aye. I mean, having watched Celtic's last 2 games, or part of the last 2 games, they've been terrible. Losing 3-0 to Rangers, and then drawn 2-2 with St Mirren. Like, I don't know what Joe Hart was playing it for one of the Carter's main goals, whether he had head and shoulders on his gloves or something like that.
What's your prediction for tomorrow?
I'd like to be optimistic, and I would want to say 2-1, but if I'm going to be realistic, I'd probably go a 1-1 draw.
I'm going to go for an optimistic 2-1, and I'm going to go for Janelli to continue his hot streak. And I'm going to go, I know it won't happen because it's Ibrox, but I'm going to go a Shanklin penalty. It's never going to happen, but I'm going to go for it anyway, just to be optimistic. But yeah,
could you imagine the meltdown of Rangers fans? They can finally concede in a penalty. Celtic Twitter would light up. Celtic Daz would be in astonishment. Rangers have conceded a penalty.
And I'd love it to be like the most contentious decision ever. Like, it's never a penalty, but VAR gives it. That would be even better. And even
that would be hilarious.
I mean, it won't happen, but you can dream. And in terms of Saturday, last game of the season against Hibs, we have to get revenge for the game that we lost 1-0 Easter Road. Surely, the way we've been playing at Tynecastle, you have to fancy Hearts to get 3 points from that.
100%. I think I've only seen Hibs win a couple of times at Tynecastle, and the rest of the time we've blown them away. Or it's been a scrappy game. But I remember the last time we played them at Tynecastle, we blew them away 3-0, and then we battered them 3-0 again the week later in the Cup. Optimistically, I want 8-0 just to wipe that 7-0 off the park. Get that out the way.
Well, that's all they have. And half the folk that say weren't even born at the time anyway. It doesn't matter.
Aye. Realistically, though. Right, you. Realistically, I would...
He's scored 8-0 as well. I've just heard that. He said 8-0 though.
Aye. He said 8-0. Realistically, I would take another 3-0, and fingers crossed, knock on wood again. It's a Shanklin hat-trick that takes him to 30 goals. Hopefully, Kyogo has 2 quiet games and Shanklin takes a golden boot away from him. And watch the Celtic Twitter meltdown as well.
But still not player of the year, though.
Still not player of the year. No.
I mean, if Stephen Humphreys can't get goal of the season, then you've got fucking no chance.
What chance have you got?
You've got no
You know
chance.
what I mean?
But I mean, the thing is, I was having this conversation 2 weeks ago with a couple of Celtic mates I'm in a group chats with. Now, when Rangers beat Celtic 3-0 2 weeks ago in a game that didn't matter points-wise,
Yeah.
a couple of Celtic fans said it doesn't matter. Now, I do get that, but it doesn't matter if there's no points involved. Winning a derby is still important. Now, on Saturday, whether the results go away, it doesn't matter. But even if we can't finish third, but we're going to finish fourth,
Yeah.
it's not really. Even if that happens, right, we go into Saturday's game and the points don't matter, you still want to win the derby. It doesn't matter if it doesn't mean anything in terms of points. You have to win the derby game.
Absolutely. I mean, whatever Celtic fan has turned around and said it didn't matter that they got beat 3-0 by their biggest rivals away from him is on some serious substance, because if that was Hearts, I'd be raging. I'd be fuming, like I was when we got beat 1-0, perhaps. Like, we weren't great that day. I've admitted that we weren't great that day, but the fact that we still got beat in a derby, I was raging about that.
Uh-huh.
Like any football fan should be. If you get beat in a derby, like, you're going to be raging.
100%. It doesn't matter if it's tiddlywinks. I still want to beat Hibs. But just before we leave, I know you talked about this before, but whatever happens these last 2 games, I know you talked about this earlier on, but are you still happy for Naismith to get the job full time, or are you hoping for somebody else, somebody more left field?
I'd be more than happy for Naismith to get the job. I'd also be more than happy enough for a manager with a bit of experience and, a winning CV to come in as well, and either win us the League Cup for the first time in God knows how long, or get us another Scottish Cup, even at a push challenge for the title. I mean, it would take a bit. It would take a bit of moulding a team together to actually challenge for the title. But, who says that it can't be done?
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. I'm starting to. I mean, I said weeks ago that I'm not wanting Naismith to get the job, but do you know what? I'll admit when I'm wrong, and if he does well these last 2 games, I think he probably more than deserves it, because he has turned us round. But we'll finish it there. It's been another great podcast. Really enjoyed it tonight. Fantastic having Dean and Ross on. Dean, thank you very much for coming on tonight.
It's all right, mate. It's good to be on and make my podcast debut.
Absolutely, mate. I'll do plenty more of these in the future, don't worry. But thank you, everyone that's watched. Thank you for all your contributions tonight. And we shall see you next time. Bye-bye.
Cheery by the roof, Drew.